We are back in the shop, and yes, it's cleaned again. Yes. We went through and we finally cleaned the shop up. We didn't have time, but that's done. I'm working on the excavator bucket, but the feed tractor we put back on the mixer yesterday, so it's good. Christoph is one of the little shoveling, or not shoveling, one of the little international tractors. The tire was flat on it, so he just fixed that.
Well, actually, no, I'm not checking it. I'm just looking at it.
And well, hopefully it's good. That one is almost done. We're just waiting on some thermostats. That's all that's left on it, but that engine starts good. That's the one that we were getting. Two, three cranks, it fired up. This bucket right here, it had a big crack from here to here, so I blew a torch line right down it and I V'd it, fully welded the bottom and the inside, but it's too dark. And then this was a wear plate that they put on before us. That was split in half. You could see how thin it was. So I torched that off. I'm gonna put a new one right here. I'm gonna have to put a new strip in right here. It's thin, and then I gotta do another new one on this side, and then this bucket should be good to go. I got my plate started. I welded the whole bottom, and then I got this very close to finish. I got the side plates on. It's almost done, but well, my battery keeps dying, but you can see what I got done. Well, I've been looking for my GoPro all day. I couldn't find it until I finally found it just now. I did put a short up earlier on YouTube, but this video will be way behind this. We were working on the tailgate on it, and then it had one flat tire. We put a new tire on it and for that. And then we are actually starting on the dump wagon project. So we actually have the axles disconnected. On the front, I just tightened the caps up and we put it on two 55-gallon drums. And on the back, I have it on two jack stands. But I didn't have two more really tall ones like this, which these aren't even, these are like medium size. We used to have one really nice one that was like this tall. And then an employee ran it over and crushed it, which would only be helpful if we had two of those. But now we don't even have one, but that is what it is. Anyways, the drums are working fine. And I gotta pull one tire off both sides, pull the axles out. And then when we pulled the front, the back was just U-bolts, it was nice. The front one, I had to cut the weld off that pin that you can see right there, and then I punched it out when the skid steer was lifting this up. We kind of caught this hose with the forks, but it's fine. That was cracked. That's nice. Moving. Couldn't have gone anywhere anyway because it was between that. But we'll get this ripped out. We'll have to take that off probably, or we won't, and we can use that to mount to with the other frame. No clue how it's going to be done until it's kind of setting in here in place, and we'll see. I still don't even know if the axle for the other frame that we have sitting over there is actually wide enough, or if we got to cut the axles off that I-beam and stick it on like one of these, and we gotta figure that out still. But we're starting today. It is Thursday, and we're hoping next week to be chopping second cut. And with all the rain we've actually just got the last couple days, which we were in good need of it, so not complaining about that. But now that it's rained, there's a good chance we'll need dump wagon on a handful of the fields. And that one, I have the piston off, but the back of it was piston oil out and snappage. And yes, we had all year to fix it, and we forgot about it because we have other stuff we're doing, and then you remember it right when you want to go use it. Either we'll be able to get it fixed, or we're going to put it back on and use it if we really need two dump wagons, and then we'll get it fixed after, and we'll just use a little bit of oil. When I say a little, it'll be a good amount. But we're going to use this one hopefully as a single axle by the time we're done. And we'll get going. I got the other tire off. My dad's here. We're gonna yank this out. Flash noose in you. Good. I'll put that tire back on this one at least. That way I can roll around and I don't gotta mess with them. We got these tires on. We just have a couple nuts on, but we have that so we can measure it. We flipped the rims and made it 3 or 4 inches wider for both sides to hopefully give us enough clearance to fit that. Now we got it mounted, we can measure some stuff up and figure out how this is gonna go together. Well, this is gonna sit like this for the night. We're all done. We did put that tire back on the one axle, still gotta do the other. And then we set this up here. We did a bunch of measuring and we stuck it right in front to see how it would look. And it's gonna be a little off, so it's not gonna be perfectly center, but who cares? It's gonna fit right in without all we had to do is flip the rims, and it's gonna be tight, no doubt about it. But the nice thing is, we don't have to cut any of the rims. We don't have to move them over. If we had to, we would have. But if you don't have to, even though it's tight, it's still faster and easier. And which kind of sucks, but it's kind of nice at the same time. We're pretty sure we could put the frame exactly where it was, because that's kind of where it's measuring up to be. It would have been nice if we could have left it like that when we hauled it from Ohio, but we planned on it, but it was too wide, so we couldn't. But because it was too wide, it should work, so it's nice. We're gonna leave it for the night, and with the way it's looking like it's going, honestly, I'll probably have it done tomorrow. So we'll see what it looks like, and we'll record more of it. It's the next day. We're gonna get working on that dump wagon, but first we're working on switching the MX 120 over to being able to fertilize corn. With this tractor, you see water leaking. This tire was flat and it was sucked in and water got in it. We put air in it for now so we could put it on. My mom's getting a tube. We have, for this tractor, 4 sets of tires and rims, because 2 that are for the wide and 2 for the narrow, because the wide ones, years ago we had a weld because everything cracked, and they are no longer movable. And then we have 2 that we have set inwards for this. And then we also have a spare, which you can see this one was definitely used enough, and we slapped it on this rim, but it's still bald. So we might have to get a tire for it because it's the only one that's actually really bad. The back is good, brand new. That one's okay, but we might have to get a cheap used one for this, and she'll be able to fertilize corn. So we're gonna get the tube. My mom's going to get it from George Woods. Christoph's almost done that tractor. Everything came in, he's just got to put it together. That'll be running one of the little cultivators. This door, it's a mangle, it is mangled now. It's a plexiglass door we made, and the piston unhooked. We won't mention who, but one of our guys let it do this. And now it is a foldable door. And we priced out getting, just because we never made it glass again, because we had this housing we built, but it's like $1,000 to get it all brackets and glass and everything. Will we or will we not? We don't know yet. We'll see. But this tractor's ready to go other than that tire. Philip's doing an oil change on the other little International. This one's the 574. The other one's the 684. And we'll be able to put both cultivators on. And I'm gonna start working on that after in a little while. I got the MX all set up, and we're gonna go hitch on the little fertilizer spreader here. Christoph's gonna go fertilize some corn. We're working on this. My GoPro is in the house still, but we got the Volvo that is lifting up the front, and the Bobcat with the forks is lifting the back. The back's chained onto the forks. The easiest way to get this around is we hooked it onto the tractor. The frame is just sitting on the axle. Okay. Christoph, I gotta lift it. The frame's just sitting on the axle. But that way we can shimmy everything side to side. But you can see that we're not high enough to get this under there. So we're driving it under. And then once it's on there, we're gonna get some measurements on what to cut, because we're not cutting before we know exactly where it's gotta go. What? Oh yeah, you're good. Tight. And now we're coming, now we have the next problem. The forks. Alrighty, I'm gonna turn this off.
Alright, so we're gonna pull the ass end off, while the back end just gets it off. Look at that. Don't take torches out.
We did not give ourselves a lot of space.
No. No, see how close we are? Like right on top of each other. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Watch the hose.
We already broke one. We did.
We did. We snapped the hose. You guys didn't see it, but we did flip it.
I'll show the picture.
We flipped it off. He took a picture of it, so. We
There
did
was
fuck it.
zero recording of us rolling this dump wagon. We definitely didn't chain it correctly, but I have a picture of it laying sideways. Christoph, that'll fix it. Slap some JB Weld on it.
That's what I was thinking.
We had it up, but I had to torch this lip out because it's actually going to sit back here a little bit. It probably slid forwards yet. So the front, when we were cutting this in Ohio, for some reason we had intuition to leave the fronts tall, because we almost didn't. We almost cut it down here. Shoot. Look at that. I can do that. That'll fix this video. So we almost cut it down here in Ohio, but we decided to leave them tall, and the front's going to be almost perfect because you only need the front and back basically holding, because that's all the other axles did. We'll weld it really good.
We should cut the front down a little bit more.
Okay. And we might reinforce it one spot in the middle because it's pretty simple. That way it's a little stronger. But we have a tractor on it, so that way it's basically at drawbar height. We want it sitting pretty level, so dumping is nice. It's worked a lot easier than we expected.
Yeah.
The only thing, we did actually have to cut the axles because it's shimmied a little bit, but we gotta slide it a little more, I think, because I think it moved on us.
Yeah.
But we are getting there. I grabbed my camera and we are almost ready to slide it back. So we want it back farther here because in the front it's a little too far forwards. We want to kind of get this at least flush with the front here. That way we have a good place to weld and we can give it more support. The front is actually too far this way because the back is lined up with this pin, this corner with this corner. So we're gonna slide it over a little, and that way it's sitting the same on the front and back. We wanted to set the frame center with that dump frame, but because of this 90 in the back here, we can't. This is gonna hit, and it's good enough anyways. The weight looks like it's sitting pretty evenly. with the axle, so we're liking it. We got that all squared, and then I just went through and welded the 4 corner posts basically. They're just kind of a bead on all 4, that way I can't move. The axle to the frame though, that's just sitting on there because we still want to shimmy it, square it. It's kind of sitting a little sideways, but we'll square that up. Philip is doing an oil change on the Volvo. We're gonna do some services, all the other filters, and I gotta kind of move this little bit of stuff that's still in here to the side, and I'm gonna back the dump wagon inside because now it's raining again. It's been on and off all day, but at least it was good enough weather for the last couple hours. We were able to get this situated, and we'll get it inside and I'll finish up the rest of it indoors. Christoph pulled in his chopper. It stopped raining. He's trying to fix 2 grease fittings that aren't taking grease. Marcus is around now. He was at a birthday party. Birdie's switching over some more lights in here. We put those in, but then we're gonna be putting in the really bright ones because we liked them. That one's still running off an extension cord, but that'll get changed out. And then he's gonna finish running the conduit and do the backlights too. At least get the conduit in today. And then we have this cranked up. It's off the axle. I put it where I wanted it, where we're gonna run it, and then we picked it up. I mean, I marked it, and now I'm starting to grind away. You can kind of see that's where it's gonna sit. So I gotta grind everything out where we're gonna need a weld. I gotta grind away all these old torch marks and the old weld. I got one old torching off right there. I gotta get this one off because the axle and the frame, it is going to get shimmied over this way, so the axle is going to be sitting closer, well, this frame is going to be sitting closer to the left axle on this I-beam here because it used to sit here. We're going to shimmy it over so we can clear for the trucks to come by the dump wagon on the side, dump into. And then also it used to sit up here, but we're going to shimmy it back to here because the way the weight works on this, it's not like the grain cart. It's not as long as stuff. And we had to bring the axle back to make it, to us it looked like it put enough weight on the tongue then, because it seemed like it was more centered and it was going to kind of keep the front end a little light. So we'll put more on the tractor. It'll help pull better and the whole 9 yards. So we're already doing it. We're going to do it how we want it and do it what we think is the right way. But this shouldn't take me too much longer. I got this so people don't have to complain, and some earplugs in because it's kind of loud down there. I got the top side of this one done. I guess I just forgot to do this side of it, but I did the other side. Oh, my magnet. I did that side. All I gotta do now is, you can see all our old torch marks. The nice thing is, because it's shifted over, I only have to clean here and here. And I'm gonna clean this spot just because if we put a plate there and give it extra support like it used to have, I don't have to do it with it as close. I can do it easy with the grinder right now. But I don't have to get rid of this hunk of metal. So this one will go a lot faster than that side, because that side, there was a lot more weld because it had half the old one and then where that plate was for the extra support. So I had to do both. Just got the axle placed exactly where we want it. We did a bunch of shimmying. It's nice when it was on these rollers because we were able just to shimmy it side to side with the rollers. And then we measured from the back to the front because these two sides here are identical, so it's square. And we got the axle running straight. I think it's like less than 1/8 of an inch difference, but it was becoming a pain to get it just perfect. And it's only a dump wagon, so that little bit's not the end of the world. So we're gonna get this welded all the way around tight. It'll get supports, brackets, and then once the axle's good, we will be we're welding the dump better to the frame. And then we'll be putting a couple supports, one in the middle, a couple on both sides, and then a front on both sides. And then all these extra ones of these, I'm gonna cut off. That way it looks smoother, because it looks like dog shit right now with all those extra sticks going up. And I can't use them anyways because these would hit the box and that moves, and they don't reach the frame on either side. So it's not like I could use them even if I wanted to. Ferdy has almost all the lights done. The tractor's actually in the way for him to finish running the conduit for the, he's gonna stick one on that side and one on that side. They'll be a little farther over. All the way down, he plumbed one light off each one of those center ones. This one's gonna come out. It's our extension cord one, but kinda don't need it there anymore. It is looking a lot brighter in here. That one still has to get switched. That one has to get switched, but he was working on getting new ones put in. The Volvo is fully serviced and ready to roll again.
So I can take that thing out?
Yeah, we can take it out after, but I was cutting, these were the old support brackets when the frame was over here. I just cut the bottom weld because the top one already was off. And I slid it over a couple inches. It was here, it's over there now. 3 inches maybe. Did the same to that side. And I just got done cutting those 2 brackets off, and it's I'll start those tomorrow. Tomorrow's Sunday, but I'll work on it. The frame around, I welded 2 beat. I did a root pass and then one over it, all 4 corners on both. I mean, it could have been welded better, but I think it'll hold. And then after this, I might put one more, like a 90 bracket or something here, or a straight plate like that, and just give it something a little bit extra like it used to have before, because it had one of those kind of, you can see how that was, just was one more support thing, but I'll just put like a flat stock here sideways to give it one more thing. And then basically I have to go through, rolling out. I have to go through and secure the cart to the frame. Because right now I just did a small crappy weld on all 4 corners because it was pouring rain. So it wasn't welding that good in the pouring rain, but I didn't want it moving around when I tried driving it in here. So I have to weld it a lot better, but we'll get there. It is Sunday today, but I've been making some big progress on this dump cart. So all the welding for the axle and the frame and the box is all done. The only thing left is I'm gonna make a kind of a rear bumper, so if it gets stuck we can just kind of push on it, and we'll put a tow hook spot on it too. We did fix this hose that we ripped off. Luckily we got an adapter fitting that we were just gonna weld on there, but we put some Teflon tape on it in the O-ring, and the threads were good the rest of the way in. This adapter was a little longer and it doesn't leak, so that's good. We got a new hose. I put triangle supports on the front and back like this. This is welded here and then about halfway in, and then the gap got too big. Did that on both sides here. I cut off this steel and the one that was in there, that way if say tire snaps, axle, anything, it doesn't shear the tire when it pops or anything. It just can fold over, it won't blow it. And then I cut off all those extra stubbies of those things, that way it looks a little bit more smooth. Cut all those off, and then in the center I'll put a support steel that's 3/8 thick on both sides right there. That way the middle had something. And then the front here, we took off this pushing hose for the axle piston, and the other side had a plug because that one was already off, so I just stuck the plug on the hose because I didn't have a female plug to plug that side off. Then we put a triangle on this side, on both sides over there too. It is lifted up a little bit because we wanted to see if that back was leaking, and we just never let it all the way down. But yeah, all the welding's done on this stuff. Just trying to get the bumper stuff left to do. And then technically we want to put blinkers on it, on the back. That way there's something. And then we should put a new floor in it and a little bit up farther. It's really bad, but it's gonna have to make do for a second cut. We'll dump it out, clean it out. It's still nasty in there. What didn't slide out at the last day. We'll get it cleaned out and hopefully it better last for second cut, because I ain't got time to put a new floor in it right now. But we'll put a square bumper on it. I cut the stocking, that way it's a lot shorter because it would have looked ugly out here. We'll bring it in. I had to leave a little bit of gap. That way if we ever have to take this piston off, we have a little bit of room to work in there. And if worst case scenario, we'll have to cut a hole in the bumper to hit a punch in there to hit it out. So I'm not too worried, but for now, it's good enough. The back bumper has been installed. It's all done. We got her welded all the way around both sides. If we ever have to do that pin and we can't get it, we can blow a little hole through it and just whack it out. But it's good. Everything else is done. The only thing we got to do is tomorrow we're going to pick up a hook, either and put it underneath or even on the side here. I don't care, whichever way. That way we can hook a pole rope or a chain to this when we decide to bury it in snaplage. Yeah. Not grass, hopefully, but in snaplage.
I don't know if she'll sink.
So
I think she'll float pretty good.
This is what she looks like now. We got to take her for a rip this week. That's what we're going to do. Yeah. I wish we didn't have to, honestly. Yeah. That just means the grass fields are going to be wet. But even though Christoph was fertilizing corn today,
it wasn't bad.
And we got well over an inch of rain the last couple of days. We didn't have the rain thing out, so I don't know.
Maybe we should get one of those bad boys.
I did. Your kids ruined it.
Oh. Well, we'll have to get another one. We'll stick one in the lawn.
On the river bottom fields, he was going with no problem.
They cultivated too.
Yep.
All right, let's hit the road.
It is Sunday and it is 7 something.
It's almost like 8 o'clock. So.
It is 8:12. So we're done. The project is complete. Other than having to put a new floor in it at some point, I'm happy with how it turned out. I got the bumper done, painted, and she's good.